Chapter 38-28. This void spirit treasure ground can be considered a temporary waste. Wang Xian stood in the center of this treasure ground. The surrounding soul power had disappeared, and only the black hole continued to emit some. This was a treasure ground. It was not inexhaustible. It needed time to accumulate. But if it wanted to accumulate to the same level as when Wang Xian first arrived, the next cataclysm might be over. We can leave this place now. Roving Crab has already absorbed all the energy in the Black Book treasure ground over 10 million years ago. Even the energy from the Black Book treasure ground has been absorbed. Yes, the special energy in the treasure ground was not endless. In the Black Book treasure ground, Roving Crab's millions of devouring dragons were devouring at a terrifying speed. More than 10 million years ago, they had already absorbed all the energy in the Black Book treasure ground. The black liquid had already been used up. It would take a long time for it to recover. Roving Crab's strength had reached the 5th order sovereign realm, comparable to the 4th order sovereigns of the peak races in the 9-source universe. As for the Black Book treasure ground, out of the 1,000 Black Book dragons, 100 had reached the 7th order sovereign realm, while the rest were 6th order sovereigns. The strength of the Dragon Palace had received a terrifying boost during this period. The number of sovereign experts had also reached 40,000. This was a very impressive number. The number of sovereign experts that the Dragon Palace has increased should be comparable to the total of the other 12 peak races, Wang Xian said. After all, they had hunted down too many experts who believed in the gods this time around. Next, I'll continue to search for treasure grounds occupied by the faith of the gods, then destroy them and take them for myself. Wang Xian made up his mind. With a swift move, he flew off into the distance. He was prepared to continue searching and hunting. Standing on the soul warship, Wang Xian flew rapidly in a certain direction. Now, apart from this soul warship, Wang Xian had 2 more soul spears. These 2 spears, when thrown out, would definitely be terrifying killing weapons. Most importantly, after the nurturing was successful, Wang Xian could instantly retrieve the spears after throwing them out. With his current strength, killing 9th order sovereigns was a piece of cake. Given his strength, he could fight 8 to 9 9th order sovereigns at once. Buzz buzz buzz. Just as Wang Xian was flying, he suddenly received a series of messages from the communication stone plate. Wang Xian switched on the communication stone plate, and was taken aback when he read the message. Dragon King, a piece of shocking news has spread among the top clans. The sorcerer tribe has used the body of a giant star beast to create a powerful sorcerer tribe puppet that is comparable to a rank 9 powerhouse. This time, they killed a large number of powerhouses who believed in the universe. The fiend race has cultivated several 5th order sovereign realm giant beasts. They had also made a move against the Faith Universe's gods. However, the Faith Universe's gods weren't weak either. Both sides fought for a long time before separating. In addition, according to what we know, the other peak races are also looking for ways to improve their strength. The skeleton race is rumored to be cultivating a powerful star behemoth skeleton. I'm guessing that the other peak level races should be doing something similar. The message was sent by Prime Minister Turtle. When he saw the message, a look of surprise appeared on his face. The other peak races were already thinking of ways to resist the suppression of the Starry Sky universe. Perhaps the peak-level races had been preparing for such research since the beginning. The initial method was to tame the giant star beasts and increase their strength after taming them. The giant star beasts wouldn't be suppressed here. With the strength of the peak races, they could easily capture a 4th order sovereign realm giant star beast, tame it, and nurture it with large amounts of resources. After all, it wasn't difficult for the peak races to nurture a 4th order sovereign realm giant star beast. Once a 4th order sovereign realm giant star beast reached the 5th order sovereign realm, it would be comparable to an 8th order sovereign in the 9 Origins universe. Moreover, because these giant star beasts belong to the Starry Sky universe, they wouldn't attract the attention of the stronger giant star beasts. In fact, in the Starry Sky universe, as long as it wasn't an 8th order sovereign, it wouldn't attract the attention of the giant star beast kings. The peak races are indeed the peak races. Wang Xian muttered to himself as his eyes lit up. However, even though they had improved at a terrifying rate, The strength of the Dragon Palace was still terrifying on the surface. More than 30 million years ago, Shaolan's strength had been revealed. The other peak races also knew that the ancient god Kuan breeder had 3 Kuan. More than 30 million years ago, 1 Kuan had reached the 6th order sovereign realm. More than 30 million years later, the other 2 Kuan might have also reached the 6th order sovereign realm. Together with the ancient god Kuan breeder, the Dragon Palace had the strength to fight against 4 9th order sovereigns. Among the peak races, the Dragon Palace should still be the strongest. It was just that now all the peak races had their own trump cards. Shaolan and the rest are still a distance away from improving. I wonder how much the rest of the peak races have improved. Wang Xian muttered to himself, "It's time to hunt down the gods of the faith universe as soon as possible." He scanned the surroundings, nurturing the last soul treasure while searching for the powerhouses who believed in the universe. The 9 Origins universe has been very arrogant recently. They have killed a large number of our experts. It's time to eliminate them all. At the same time, at the passage to the faith universe, an expert from the Pantheon looked at the experts of the other palaces and said, "Indeed, with a little preparation, we can wipe out all the experts and disciples of the 9 Origins universe in one fell swoop." The elder of the Decree Palace nodded in agreement. Each palace will send out a top-notch expert. 24 of them will be enough to wipe them out. All the experts and resources of the 9 Origins universe will be shared equally among the 24 palaces. An expert from the Pantheon Palace on the right side said as he looked around. "All right." The other gods of the Pantheon Palace nodded. Over the past tens of millions of years, they had learned everything about the 9 Origins universe. Most of the elite disciples and experts below the 8th order sovereigns had come to the 9 Origins universe. Now it was time to wipe out all the experts and disciples of the 9 Origins universe in one fell swoop. Those who couldn't be accepted as believers would be eliminated. Those who could be accepted as believers would be subdued. And then they would reproduce and give birth to more disciples of the 9 Origins universe. Then they would use the resources of the starry universe that they could use. Those that couldn't be used could be given to the believers of the 9 Origins universe to increase their strength. Chapter 38-29. The Faith Universe. During the last cataclysm, they had been able to destroy a universe because of their faith dharma. They had taken in the disciples of the experts of that universe as believers, and ordered them to multiply. The living beings that survived would continue to believe in them. In this way they had conquered the entire universe. They were prepared to use the same method to take in the disciples of the experts of the 9 Origins universe. As for those that could not be subdued, they would be killed. If they could obtain a large number of believers from the 9 Origins universe, and drive away the disciples of the experts of the 9 Origins universe, they would be able to use the resources of the universe for themselves. Those that could not be used would be given to the believers of the 9 Origins universe. As the strength of the believers increased, so would their strength. Killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Then let's act quickly. 12 top forces block their path of retreat, while the other 12 fight them head-on. One of the gods said as he took out his communication device and sent a message. The experts of the other palaces also passed on the orders. In the past tens of millions of years, they had obtained the strength of the rank 9 gods through special methods. Some were rank 6 space beasts that had been taken in as believers, while others were combat puppets formed from the power of faith. The 24 palaces had created many powerful treasures over the past tens of millions of years. An existence that could occupy 2 universes was not that simple. The top races of the 9 Origins universe did not know that the Faith universe was preparing to attack the 9 Origins universe. At this moment, because the sorcerer race had displayed powerful combat strength and killed a large number of the Faith universe's gods, the other top races were not to be outdone. These trump cards had been created in the past tens of millions of years. They had also begun to hunt the Faith universe's gods. What a terrifying amount of faith energy. There are many Faith universe's experts and disciples there. Within the territory of the Faith universe, Wang Xian flew quickly. He flew in the direction of the center of the starry universe for 2 years. In these 2 years he did not encounter any Faith universe's gods or disciples. But at this time, he suddenly felt a vast amount of faith energy coming from behind him. This caused his eyes to shine. He could sense this vast and majestic power of faith from a great distance away. This energy was even more vast and majestic than at the Void Spirit Paradise. This meant that the number of Faith Universe's gods in that direction exceeded tens of thousands. Moreover, his strength was extremely terrifying. It's flying towards the front right. Wang Xian sensed it. With a thought, the Tai Chi dragon board appeared around him and gradually concealed him. Inside the yin-yang space, he flew toward the direction of the majestic faith energy. After flying for more than 10 minutes, Wang Xian immediately saw an army of faith flying ahead. Yes, this was a legion, a powerful legion. There were more than 1 million believers and disciples. Wang Xian took a glance and estimated that there were about 80,000 existences at the level of the pantheon. The remaining million or so were all elite believers of the universe. Their strength was comparable to a 7th-order Venerable Realm expert. Among them, there were more than 100 rank 7 gods. This number was truly terrifying. In addition, there was a star beast in the middle of the army of faith. It was a rank 6 star beast. This giant star beast was probably controlled by the gods who believed in it. On top of the behemoth were more than 100 rank 7 gods. The legion of gods flew forward at high speed. This made Wang Xian's eyes flicker with astonishment. He hesitated for a moment, but still prepared to strike. With so many gods of faith, it would bring a huge amount of resources to the Dragon Palace after annihilating them. As for what they were up to, he would find out once he left a few of them alive to investigate. He moved and flew in the direction in front of them. Wang Xian hid in the void before them, exerting the full power of the Tai Chi Dragon Board and the 5 Elements Grindstone, ready to attack at any time. He was even ready to take out the Soul Warship and Soul Spear to deal a fatal blow to the Army of Faith. The Army of Faith soon came into his sight. Wang Xian stared at them calmly, ready to strike the moment they reached him. The giant star beast flew closer, but did not sense Wang Xian. The experts on the giant star beast did not sense him either. However, when they were not far away from Wang Xian, in the middle of the giant star beast and the rank 7 gods, an old man sat in the middle with a bead in his hand. His eyes were closed and his mouth was moving constantly. He suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the bead of faith in his hand. On the surface of the bead, the scene of his impending death was displayed. "Oh no, there's an ambush. Watch out." He narrowed his eyes and shouted immediately. He waved his arm, and the bead in his hand immediately floated in the air in front of him. "What? Watch out!" the old man suddenly exclaimed. The surrounding rank 7 gods were shocked. Without any hesitation, they shook their bodies with the power of faith. With a wave of their arms, boundless and terrifying power of faith surged into the bead. "Defend!" one of the rank 7 gods roared. The millions of gods and disciples of the Army of Faith focused their eyes and instantly entered into battle mode. The giant star beast at the 6th Order Sovereign Realm also let out a roar as it looked around. Waves of energy surged forward. "We've been discovered? However, you're already in my attack range." "Die." Wang Xian narrowed his eyes and revealed a cold expression. He waved his arm and the 5 Elements Grindstone appeared in front of them, covering the entire starry sky. Countless offensive spiritual treasures of the 5 elements shrouded them. The Tai Chi Dragon Plate also moved and flew towards the space below them. An incomparably huge Tai Chi diagram appeared in the space below them. The Tai Chi diagram began to revolve, and a terrifying aura rose upwards. Light and darkness revolved, intertwining and spinning rapidly, crushing everything above them. At the same time, a soul spear appeared in Wang Xian's hand, and aimed at the giant star beast at the 6th Order Sovereign Realm. "Oh no, watch out. Block with all your might." The old man in the middle of the primordial heaven palace was shocked when he saw the 5 Elements Grindstone and the Tai Chi Dragon Plate appearing above and below them. The bead of faith in the sky was still showing the scene of them being killed. This meant that they were invincible. They would be annihilated. Chapter 38:30. The roar of the 6th Order Sovereign Astral Beast rang out. The millions of gods and believers of the Army of Faith launched their strongest attacks at the same time. Waves of faith energy gathered on the bead. The entire bead released a terrifying amount of faith energy. The 100-odd 7th Order gods on the astral beast took out their powerful faith treasures. They also channeled their vast power of faith into the bead. This bead was a famous treasure of the primordial heaven palace, the Pearl of Life and Death. The Pearl of Life and Death could predict life and death. At the same time, it was also an incomparably powerful treasure of faith. Channeling faith energy into it could reverse life and death. Boom boom boom. Boom boom boom. When the boundless faith energy was channeled into the Pearl of Life and Death, the entire bead exploded with a terrifying amount of faith energy. The scene within the Pearl of Life and Death changed. The situation where they were certain to die changed. At the same time, the faith energy within the Pearl of Life and Death opened up a huge umbrella of faith. This umbrella of faith met the attacks of the Tai Chi Dragon Coil, and the 5 elements grind. Boom. Following that, the sound of collision resounded as terrifying energy blasted out. Arg. Arg. However, at this time the primordial heaven palace's legion of faith, the believers below the level of the myriad gods, let out miserable shrieks. They were unable to withstand the terrifying shockwaves. More than 1 million believers' bodies crumbled, and they died quickly. Ha! At this moment, Wuxia, who was at the front, was shocked when he saw this. His attack was actually blocked. One had to know that the full power of the Tai Chi Dragon Coil and the 5 elements grind was comparable to the full power of 6 Ninth Order gods. They had actually blocked it. Wuxia was shocked. Foresight, enemy. At this time, the gods on the 7th Order giant astral beast roared and waved their arms. The surrounding believers' corpses entered the Pearl of Life and Death. In the next moment, Wuxia's figure appeared. Someone is attacking us. It should be an expert from the 9 Origins universe. The rank 7 Pantheon in the middle saw Wuxia's figure and bellowed in horror. They discovered me. When Wuxia saw this, he was also shocked. It seemed that he still couldn't underestimate the faith universe. Even with his current strength, he was already very powerful. So be it. I'll kill all of you. This amount of resources is enough for the Dragon Palace. Wuxia's eyes flickered as he growled in a low voice. Attack. With just a thought, the 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi Dragon Coil crushed towards them. That terrifying aura and energy gathered in the surroundings. The Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 elements grindstone attacked from above and below. The terrifying energy once again attacked them. At this moment, the scene of their deaths appeared on the Life and Death Prophecy Pearl again. Not good. The opponent's strength is too terrifying. We can't resist it. When they saw the result on the Life and Death Prophecy Pearl, all the gods in the primordial heaven palace were shocked. The first strike had killed all of their followers. They could no longer withstand this attack. Even if they released all the power of faith once again, he still couldn't block it. Who are you? How dare you kill us? Our heaven origin palace will not let you off. The rank 7 gods in the center of the primordial heaven palace bellowed. The mysterious existence that attacked them was probably going to kill them all this time. The entire primordial heaven palace had 1 million troops and over 80,000 gods. Once all of them died, it would be a huge loss. Hee, you won't let me off? I'm the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace of the 9-Source universe. I'm here to entertain you. However, none of you can escape today. Die. Wuxia didn't hide when he was discovered. Moreover, even if he wanted to hide, the people from the Faith universe would know it was him through his appearance. Therefore, he didn't hide at all. Within the Star universe, Wuxia wasn't afraid of any enemy. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Just you wait. Give it to our primordial heaven palace. Give it to our Faith universe. We'll definitely annihilate all of you. A rank 7 god bellowed with a menacing and violent expression. Tisk, I'd like to see who's going to kill who. Wuxia stared at them coldly. At this moment, roars came from the 5 elements grindstone and the Taiji dragon plate. Waves of energy were directed at them. No. We can't escape. We can't escape. Get the palace master and the rest to avenge us. We must annihilate the dragon palace and avenge us. Howls and cries of despair rang out. One by one, the gods felt this unparalleled power, and their bodies began to tremble violently. They were going to die. Only gods with treasures could be resurrected. For the vast majority of gods, if they died this time, they would die for good. They were indignant. Boom. Boom. At this time, the Tai Chi dragon plate collided with the 5 elements grindstone's energy. The experts in the middle, as well as the 6th Order Sovereign Realm Star Beast, felt their vitality sapping away at an alarming rate. Ultimately, their strength was still far from Wang Xian's. Wang. At this moment, Wang Xian waved his arm and saved the lives of a few gods. As he executed the soul assimilation art, waves of information entered his mind. The rest of the gods were turned into corpses. Wang Xian waved his arm and kept all the corpses with a smile on his face. The harvest this time was too great. 1,000,000 faith soldiers and more than 80,000 gods. Among them, there were more than 100 7th Order sovereigns. With these resources, the strength of the Dragon Palace would be enhanced to a terrifying level. At that time, as long as there were enough resources, it would be much easier for the disciples of the Dragon Palace to improve. Perhaps in tens of millions of years, the number of sovereigns of the Dragon Palace could reach more than 100,000. This speed of improvement was absolutely terrifying. Primordial Heaven Palace? So this is the army that the Universe of Faith, Primordial Heaven Palace sent to the battlefield in the 9 Origins universe. 24 palaces joined forces to annihilate and subdue all the experts and disciples in the 9 Origins universe? Wang Xian kept the corpses and began to check the information he had obtained. His eyes were filled with shock when he saw the information. 24 palaces joined forces and each palace had 1,000,000 soldiers. They were not weaker than the Primordial Heaven Palace. The strength of these 24 palaces was a little terrifying. One had to know that each palace had sent more than 100 7th Order sovereigns. Chapter 38-31. The strength of the Universe of Faith's 24 palaces had completely exceeded Wang Xian's expectations. A single palace had sent over 100 rank 7 gods. This number shouldn't be something the 9 Origins universe could compare to. At the very least, it wasn't something the Phoenix race and Angel race could compare to. One had to know that the Angel race and Phoenix race had only sent a few dozen 7th Order sovereigns to hunt Wang Xian down. However, in their faith universe, a single palace had sent over 100 rank 7 gods. This number was a little terrifying. Of course, there was another possibility. The passage to the starry sky cosmos hadn't been open for too long, and many of the Angel race and Phoenix race experts hadn't arrived yet. But no matter what, the Universe of Faith was very, very strong. In particular, Wang Xian had obtained a piece of information from their memories. The Universe of Faith had sent out a rank 9 god, which was equivalent to a rank 6 space beast. Wang Xian didn't know how many rank 9 existences there were in the 9 Origins universe. But he knew that not every peak race had such a level of combat power. From the looks of it, the overall strength of the Universe of Faith was much, much stronger than the 9 Origins universe. If the 24 palaces really want to join forces and destroy the experts and disciples of the 9 Origins universe, the 9 Origins universe might not be able to stop them. Wang Xian murmured. After all, the Universe of Faith had 2 universes. There was still a gap. However, Wang Xian was more than happy to see them being so strong. Each of the 24 palaces had an army of 1,000,000. If they could be destroyed, it would be a huge boost to the Dragon Palace. If a palace had 80,000 gods, then the 24 palaces would have close to 2,000,000 gods. How much would the boost to the Dragon Palace be if they were destroyed? But for now, if the 24 palaces joined forces, Wang Xian wouldn't be their match. But if they joined forces, Wang Xian could destroy them one by one. The 24 palaces and 24 factions weren't all of one mind. There were contradictions and conflicts between them. In fact, these contradictions and conflicts were much stronger than the 9 Origins universe. It was only because of the existence of the 9 Origins universe that they were united against outsiders. I can launch sneak attacks and destroy them bit by bit, Wang Xian planned in his heart. Of the 24 palaces, he had destroyed 1 palace. There were still 23 palaces left. The other 23 palaces weren't weak. They were strong, But other than the Tai Chi Dragon Board and the 5 Elements Grindstone, Wang Xian still had 4 spiritual objects. Some of them had not been fully nurtured. Even so, he alone could take on 9 Tier 9 God-level existences. In other words, even if there were 4 to 5 palaces joining forces, Wang Xian could annihilate all of them. Go and intercept them. See if you can destroy 1 or 2 more gods and believers. As Wang Xian spoke, he made a move and flew to the front right. The experts of the 24 palaces were preparing to gather at a spot ahead. Wang Xian wanted to see if he could intercept 1 or 2 more armies along the way. If he succeeded, the rewards he would reap would be terrifying. As he moved, the soul warship flew forward rapidly. However, just as Wang Xian was searching for the gods of the universe of faith, at the passageway to the universe of faith, in the primordial heaven palace's position, the primordial heaven palace's elder suddenly froze and took out his communication device. When he saw the aura above, a furious aura surged from his body into the sky. Kill, kill, kill. Above him, the shadows of believers appeared one after another. These believers all had hideous expressions, and were exuding a strong murderous intent. Murderous intent surged into the sky instantly. The sudden change of the primordial heaven palace's elder shocked the gods of the surrounding palaces as they looked at him with bewilderment. Elder Qian Fa, what's going on? An expert of the gods couldn't help but ask. The primordial heaven palace's elder Qian Fa's face was extremely gloomy. The shadows of believers in the sky were still roaring. He clenched his fists tightly and his eyes were filled with sharp murderous intent. The army of our primordial heaven palace has been annihilated, he said in a low voice with a sullen expression. What? Hearing his words, all the deities of the other 23 palaces trembled slightly, and a look of shock appeared on their faces. Elder Qian Fa, what's going on? Could the experts of the Nine-Source universe have set up an ambush here? One of the gods from the primordial heaven palace asked solemnly. Now that the 24 palaces had joined forces to annihilate the disciples of the Nine-Source universe, their primordial heaven palace had been annihilated. That was an army of 1,000,000. More than 80,000 gods. Such a powerful force had been annihilated? This was a huge matter. The experts of the other palaces couldn't help but take it seriously. It was the experts of the Nine-Source universe, but according to our resurrected disciples, it was the Dragon King of the Nine-Source universe. He was the one who annihilated our army. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had a terrifying treasure that rendered our primordial heaven palace powerless. We were all killed in 2 moves. Elder Qian Fa said with an ugly expression. This loss was too great for the primordial heaven palace. It was so great that they couldn't bear it. More than 80,000 gods. And more than 100 rank 7 gods. And the arrangements that the primordial heaven palace had made in the universe over the past tens of millions of years. Now everything had been destroyed. This was a huge blow to the primordial heaven palace. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? The Dragon King of the Nine-Source universe? The Dragon Palace of the new Apex race? This is impossible to annihilate your army in 2 moves, right? What kind of power could annihilate your army in 2 moves? When the gods of the other palaces heard Elder Qian Fa's words, their eyes narrowed. They were very familiar with the apex races of the Nine-Source universe. They also knew about the new apex race, the Dragon Palace. After all, tens of millions of years ago, the ancient god Kuan breeder of the Dragon Palace had attacked them and killed many gods. Now this Dragon King had actually annihilated the army of the primordial heaven palace. This shocked them. The primordial heaven palace wasn't weak. According to our resurrected disciples, the 2 treasures of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace should be comparable to the power of 5 or 6 rank 9 gods. Elder Qian Fa said with a gloomy expression. This was a nightmare for the primordial heaven palace. The power of those 2 treasures is comparable to the power of 5 or 6 rank 9 gods. The expressions of the gods of the other 23 palaces changed slightly and turned solemn. This power had exceeded their expectations. Chapter 38-32. The Dragon Palace's Dragon King. The Dragon Palace only rose to prominence recently. Back then, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace single-handedly forced the phoenixes and angels of the Nine Essences universe to bow their heads to him. The Dragon Palace has an ancient god Kuan breeder, who breeds astral beasts. Currently, it seems that the ancient god Kuan breeder has 3 Kuan, which are comparable to rank 6 astral beasts. The Dragon King now has such a terrifying treasure. Conservatively speaking, the strength of the Dragon Palace is comparable to 8 or 9 star beasts of the 6th order. At the passage to the universe of faith, a Pantheon expert frowned as he looked at the information in his hands. If I'm not wrong, the Black Scripture Treasure Ground and the Void Spirit Treasure Ground of our Decree Palace and Heavenly Imperial Palace were both attacked by the Dragon King. Elder Ji Gong said coldly with a gloomy face. Over at the Hollow Spirit Paradise, the Order Palace had lost 7,000 to 8,000 Pantheon experts and many experts from the other palaces. At the Heavenly Imperial Palace, they had also lost 3,000 to 4,000 gods and a large number of believers. The Decree Palace, the Heavenly Imperial Palace, and the now destroyed Heaven Essence Palace. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had killed almost 100,000 gods that they believed in. What did that mean? This was a huge loss. Even in the 10 to 20 billion years of war between the palaces, they had never lost so many gods. However, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace had killed so many of them. That Dragon Palace's Dragon King has killed so many of our experts. He must be killed. He must be killed. The elder of the Decree Palace continued speaking, his eyes filled with dense killing intent. We have to eliminate the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace first. Otherwise, once he attacks us one by one, our army won't be able to withstand it. The elder of the Heavenly Imperial Palace also chimed in. Their Heavenly Imperial Palace's Black Book treasured land had been occupied, and a large number of gods and believers had been killed. They had to avenge this. Indeed. The surrounding elders nodded slightly. Most of them had not been attacked by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. However, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace was a powerhouse of the 9 Origins cosmos. Furthermore, his strength was so terrifying. He had to be eliminated. Otherwise, there would be endless troubles in the future. Especially when they were separated. None of them were a match for the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Even if 2 or 3 palaces joined forces, they would not be a match for the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Furthermore, it was impossible for the 24 palaces to gather together at all times. Therefore, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace must be eliminated. Immediately inform the other deities of the 23 palaces, and have them gather together immediately. An elder of the palace immediately opened his mouth and said. The other elders nodded in agreement. They had to gather the gods and believers immediately. Otherwise, if the Dragon Palace continued to hunt down their legions, the result would be the same as the Primordial Heaven Palace. This loss was far too great. Prepare the elite forces of 10 palaces, and eliminate the Dragon King of Dragon Palace first. Another elder said as he glanced at the surroundings. The surrounding elders nodded in agreement. He had to get rid of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King first before he could exterminate the other experts and disciples of the 9 Origins cosmos. Do we have to change our current plan? If we don't retaliate against the 9 Origins cosmos now, they might attack us. An elder hesitated for a moment before continuing. I suggest that the 10 palaces deal with the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, while the other 13 palaces compete with the experts and disciples of the 9 Origins cosmos. Given the strength of our 13 palaces, the 9 Origins cosmos might not be a match for us. That's fine. The peak races of the 9 Origins cosmos have been somewhat arrogant recently. Even if we only send out the strength of the 13 palaces, it will be enough to suppress them. One of the elders nodded. In that case, let's lock onto the position of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace through prayer and eliminate him. One of the elders said. The deities of the Faith Universe began to formulate a plan. At the same time, within the Faith Universe, the legions of the various palaces received the news from their elders. Their faces were filled with astonishment. The million-strong legion of the Primordial Heaven Palace was eliminated. This opponent's strength is somewhat terrifying. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace? The 9 Origins cosmos actually has such an expert. Our heavenly imperial palace's Black Book treasure ground is related to him? Courting death. Let's go and meet with the other palaces. When the experts of the other 23 palaces received the news, they immediately began to meet up. They were not very far from each other. Very quickly, the legions of the various palaces began to gather. Half a year later, at a certain location in the starry sky cosmos, the legions of the 10 faith universes gathered together. 10 legions, millions of gods and believers. Just the number of existences at the God realm alone reached over 800,000. In addition, there were 5 sixth-order sovereign realm space beasts, as well as some unique treasures. When they gathered together, over 1,000 rank 7 gods exchanged glances. Let's begin. Follow the orders of the elders and eliminate the Dragon King of Dragon Palace first. A rank 7 god from the heavenly imperial palace said with a cold gaze. Alright, start praying and lock onto the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. The group of rank 7 gods nodded their heads. Faith, pray, kill the gods of the faith universe. Pray for karma, lock onto the enemy, draw. One of the tier 7 gods shouted, his voice reaching the ears of the millions of believers and gods. Yes, the group of gods and believers responded. All the believers immediately sat cross-legged in the void. The remaining gods under rank 7 gods closed their eyes and placed their palms together. Wang wang wang, wang wang wang. Streams of faith power floated in the air, changing and condensing together to release a special kind of energy. Gradually, the power of faith condensed into a scissor, pointing in a direction. Soon, the arrow flew in a certain direction. Let's go and kill the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Seeing this, the gods of the faith universe immediately ordered loudly, rumble, rumble, rumble. In the next instant, the 10 legions of faith moved, flying in the direction pointed by the scissor, locking onto the enemy by faith. This was a very powerful ability of the faith universe. However, this move required a large number of believers to condense the power of faith and pray. The stronger the enemy he was pursuing, the more faith power he would need to gather. However, with the strength of the 10 legions, it was still very easy to lock onto Wang Xian. The speed of the 10 legions was not slow. They followed the scissor at a terrifying speed. At this moment, Wang Xian did not know that he had been locked onto. He was flying in a certain direction, searching for the legions of the faith universe. He wanted to see if he could eliminate 1 or 2 more. After flying for half a year, he suddenly sensed a terrifying power of faith rushing towards him. Chapter 38-33. What's going on? Wang Xian's eyes narrowed as he sensed the terrifying power of faith. This power of faith was more than 10 times stronger than the primordial Heaven Palace army he had encountered previously. This power of faith was almost tangible. He hesitated for a moment, and his eyes narrowed as he stared ahead vigilantly. Wang Xian also knew that the faith universe should have received news of him annihilating the primordial Heaven Palace army. After receiving the news, they would either retaliate or evade. But based on Wang Xian's understanding of the strength of the 24 palaces, they would not evade, but retaliate and seek revenge. But how did they know my location? Is there some special method? Wang Xian murmured as he became more vigilant. He had to be on his guard against a force from the faith universe. The 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon plate floated around him. The soul warship was also ready to escape at its fastest speed. Buzz, buzz. At this moment, Wang Xian could already sense a powerful force before the gods from the faith universe arrived. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace is just ahead, don't let him escape. Soon, an army 10 times stronger than the primordial Heaven Palace army appeared in his sight. This was not 1 army, but 10. The strength of each army was not weaker than the primordial Heaven Palace. In the middle of a few armies, there were also 6th-order sovereign space beasts. There was even a legion with 10 5th-order sovereign realm giant space beasts. The 10 armies flew over, accompanied by a cold voice. At the sight of this, Wang Xian narrowed his eyes and revealed a shocked expression. Fuck. He could not help but spit out a curse as his face turned ugly. An army of 10 palaces. The gods from the faith universe had sent 1,000,000 armies of 10 palaces just to deal with him. The strength of each palace was enough to deal with a sixth-order sovereign space beast. In addition, with the various trump cards of the army, they could even annihilate a sixth-order sovereign space beast. Even with the Tai Chi Dragon Plate, the 5 elements grindstone, and the 4 powerful spiritual treasures, Wang Xian was still no match for this force. They really think highly of me. When Wang Xian saw this, he turned around and fled into the distance without any hesitation. I saw the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. He's trying to escape. Stop him. Kill him. How dare he kill the gods and believers of our universe? He's courting death. Spears of Faith attack. At this moment, the Tier 7 gods of the Faith Legion of the 10 Palaces also saw Wang Xian. Seeing that the other party was about to escape, a cold look appeared on Zhang Xian's face as he roared. At the same time, the several hundred Tier 7 gods in the center waved their arms and poured faith power into the guiding arrow. Following which, the scissor was like a long spear that struck towards Wang Xian at a terrifying speed. The power of faith was invincible. Whoosh! So fast! Sensing the speed of the spear of faith, Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. With a move of his body, the 5 elements grindstone released a 5 elements spear, which flew towards the spear of faith. Boom! The sound of an incomparably violent collision rang out, and the 2 spears instantly collapsed at the same time. The power of this spear of faith is enough to kill a 6th-order sovereign realm space beast. Seeing this terrifying collision, Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. His opponent had come prepared. Just the power of a single strike was enough to withstand a full power strike from the 5 elements grindstone. I'm no match for them. Wang Xian thought to himself as he immediately controlled the soul warship to escape. His speed was very fast. With the support of the 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi Dragon Coil, he was much faster than the 10 Palaces armies. To be able to withstand the attack of the Spear of Faith in an instant. No wonder they could annihilate the primordial Heaven Palace's army. This Dragon Palace's Dragon King is indeed not simple. When the gods of the 10 Palaces saw this scene, their expressions changed slightly. He's trying to escape. We can't let him escape. Chase after him. Think of a way to stop him. Seeing that Wang Xian was trying to escape, the group of Tier 7 gods hurriedly roared. Transfer of faith. You guys attack and help me restrain him. I'll go in front of him and restrain him. A Tier 7 god from one of the palace's armies roared as his body started to turn illusory. Below him, the 6th-order sovereign realm giant star beast also started to turn illusory. Attack. The other gods of faith roared when they saw his figure gradually disappearing. Roar. 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 The space beast began to roar as waves of terrifying and vast energy started to gather. The rest of the experts who believed in the gods also gathered their strongest attacks and launched them at Wang Xian. However, the distance between them and Wang Xian was very far. Most of the attacks could not reach him from such a distance. Only 5 to 6 attacks headed towards Wang Xian. Seeing the power behind him, Wang Xian narrowed his eyes. Roar. Roar. On the 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi Dragon Coil, the 7 divine dragons roared at the same time. Defend. Defend. The 5 elements grindstone released a layer of defense as the Tai Chi Dragon Coil spun. Behind the defense of the 5 elements grindstone, yin and yang began to rotate. Boom. The power of the 5 elements grindstone was smashed, and the remaining power landed on the Tai Chi Dragon Coil. The Tai Chi Dragon Coil spun and slowly withstood it. At the same time, a force of recoil rushed towards the gods who had launched the attack. Ha! Oh no, I can feel a great horror descending on me. Oh no, what kind of strange attack is this? An unknown force is attacking us. Soon, the dozens of rank 7 gods of faith were shocked as they roared. Pray. Pray for us to get rid of all negative emotions. One of the rank 7 gods of faith shouted. Wang wang wang. Wang wang wang. The surrounding gods of faith and millions of believers immediately began to pray. Waves of power of faith entered their bodies and withstood the strange counterforce. As a massive amount of power of faith entered their bodies, the counterforce in their bodies was instantly cleared. That's enough. Stay here for us. Web of faith trap. Roar. Roar. At this time, over 100 rank 7 gods and a 6th order sovereign realm star beast suddenly appeared in front of Wang Xian. The hundreds of rank 7 gods and 6th order space beast immediately released their strongest attacks. Ha! Seeing the experts of faith suddenly appearing in front of him, Wang Xian's face froze and was filled with surprise. Chapter 38-34. A huge net shrouded over Wang Xian. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at the huge net. Behind him, the Tai Chi dragon plate and the 5 elements grindstone blocked the attack. Die. The group of deities in front looked at Wang Xian with a cold gleam in their eyes. At this point in time, the Dragon Palace's Dragon King was going to be completely pinned down. Once he was pinned down, with their strength, they could easily make the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace stay here forever. Their eyes revealed a cold and awe-inspiring look. Hee, you want me to die? Upon hearing their words and seeing their excited expressions, Wang Xian's eyes flashed with coldness. He waved his hand and a soul spear appeared in his hand. He poured all the energy in his body into the soul spear and shot it forward. His target was the 6th order sovereign realm giant space beast. At the same time, after the first soul spear was shot out, another soul spear appeared in his hand and met the huge net. In addition, the soul warship beneath him charged forward. In an instant, not only did Wang Xian not stop, but he also increased his speed. Swish, swish, swish. When the soul spear was shot towards the 6th order sovereign realm giant space beast, the 6th order sovereign realm space beast immediately felt a sense of danger, and it roared as it charged forward. A wave of energy rushed towards the soul spear. The other soul spear easily penetrated the web of faith and attacked the gods of the universe of faith. Not good, that's a 9th grade treasure. It's a soul weapon condensed from souls. Be careful, he still has a powerful trump card. When the web of faith was penetrated, the expressions of the gods blocking in front of them changed drastically, and they hurriedly dodged. Swish, swish, swish. But at this time, the soul warship sped over. The distance between Wang Xian and them was very, very close. He stared at the group of gods and moved. Buzz, buzz, buzz. In the next second, 4 dark ghost avatars appeared around him. Each nether ghost avatar wore a soul armor and wielded a soul spear. These were the soul armor and soul spears they had condensed. Now dark ghost doppelgangers all had 7th order sovereign soul armor and long spears. This increased their strength to the level of 3 7th order sovereigns. The 4 nether ghost clones immediately moved. Wang Xian's figure moved in an instant. His speed was terrifying, and when he pushed himself to his limits, his speed could rival that of a rank 8 god. At the same time, with a thought, the 2 soul spears that he had thrown out instantly returned to his hands. With a wave of his hand, he sent one flying towards the 6th order sovereign realm star beast, and the other towards the group of gods. The soul warship, on the other hand, charged toward the rank 6 star behemoth. After doing all this, Wang Xian locked onto a rank 7 god and vanished instantly. Not good, come and help us. Hurry, he has too many trump cards in his hands. Come and support us. A terrified voice came from the group of gods in front of them. They had over 100 rank 7 gods and a 6th order sovereign realm giant space beast. This power was already very powerful. However, their strength was not enough to deal with 3 soul attack treasures comparable to rank 9 gods. Boom, boom, boom. The soul spears flew towards the 100 rank 7 gods. The power of the soul spears was comparable to rank 9 gods, and the dozens of rank 7 gods did not have time to react. The terrifying soul spears and shockwaves instantly killed them. Wang Xian and the Nether Ghost clones instantly arrived beside the 5 rank 7 gods. The 5 rank 7 gods were horrified, and they immediately tried to defend themselves. Boom. Save me. However, against the strength of Wang Xian and the others, they could not resist in a one-on-one situation. Instant kill. Roar, roar, roar. Grr. Below, the soul spears flew towards the 6th order giant space beast again. This time, there was an additional soul warship. The 2 attacks collided with the 6th order sovereign realm giant space beast. The 6th order sovereign realm giant space beast let out a blood-curdling scream. After killing a rank 7 god, Wang Xian waved his arm. and another soul spear appeared in his hand. Then he shot it towards the other rank 7 gods. To the rank 7 gods, an unparalleled force swept towards them. Save us! Hurry, hurry up and save us! When they saw this scene, they roared at the front with their eyes wide open. They were no match for the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Hurry, hurry! Attack! Behind them, the gods and believers of the other 9 palaces were flying towards them at high speed. 5 Elements Annihilation Plate. However, at this time, the 5 Elements Grindstone unleashed its strongest attack. A huge 5 Elements demonic plate shrouded them. On the Tai Chi Dragon Plate, 2 divine dragons, light and dark, attacked the experts of the 9 palaces. Damn it! Block! The 9 palaces roared. Although they could completely suppress the Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 Elements Grindstone, they still needed to put up some resistance. Arg! However, at the moment when they resisted, another dozen rank 7 gods were killed by the soul spears. Run, run, run! When the remaining rank 7 gods saw this, their faces were filled with fear. They screamed in horror, landed on the giant space beast, and ordered loudly, "Roar, roar, roar!" The 6th Order Sovereign Realm giant space beast erupted with all its might, and the dozens of 7th Order gods immediately fled to the side. Wuxia did not give chase. With the strength of the soul warship and 2 soul spears, it was not enough to destroy a 6th Order Sovereign giant space beast easily. After all, the soul spears and soul warship were different from the Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 Elements Grindstone. The Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 Elements Grindstone could unleash all its strength without Wuxia's control. He had to control the soul spears and soul warship himself. Wuxia kept all the corpses and flew forward immediately. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The Tai Chi Dragon Plate and the 5 Elements Grindstone flew towards Wuxia. Swish. In the next second, Wuxia stood on the soul warship and flew into the distance. His speed was much faster than that of the 10 Palaces Legion. Damn it! Oh no, the Dragon King is going to escape. Chase. Continue the chase. When the gods of the 10 Palaces saw this scene, their faces were incomparably ugly. Not only did they fail to capture the Dragon King, but they also lost 60 to 70 rank 7 gods. This was a slap to their faces. Chapter 38-35. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace is very strong. He has 3 powerful soul treasures. He must have gotten them from the Void Spirit Paradise. The 10 Palaces' armies were in hot pursuit. One of the rank 7 gods from the Order's palace said with an ugly expression. According to the information they had obtained, the Dragon King's trump cards were comparable to 5 to 6 rank 7 gods. The combined strength of the 10 palaces and legions was comparable to a dozen tier 9 gods. However, the Dragon King of Dragon Palace still managed to escape under such circumstances. The strength he displayed was much stronger than the information they had obtained. Based on the information they had obtained, they could have taken down the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace just now. The Dragon King is indeed strong and difficult to deal with. One of the rank 7 gods from the Heavenly Imperial Palace said with a bitter expression. The Dragon King's true strength had exceeded their expectations. Continue the chase. Given our strength, as long as we can trap him, we can definitely kill him. One of the rank 7 gods said with a cold expression. The other gods from the 10 palaces nodded with sullen expressions. They had already clashed with the Dragon Palace. Although dozens of rank 7 gods had been killed, they had a clear understanding of the Dragon King's strength. Given their strength, they could still kill him if they unleashed their full strength. But first, they had to trap the Dragon King. Continue the chase. If we gather together, the power of faith is too strong. The Dragon King can sense it. It's best if we can surround him. As long as we can fight him head-on, we can kill him. One of the rank 7 gods from the Heavenly Imperial Palace said. Alright, continue the prayer chase. The gods from the 10 palaces nodded. Know thyself, know thy enemy, and you will emerge victorious. The previous failure was because they had misjudged the Dragon King's strength and allowed him to escape. But next time, they were confident that they could make it difficult for him to escape. The experts from the 10 palaces continued the chase. How did the experts from the 10 palaces lock onto me? I've been searching for them for so long, yet they found me so easily. It seems like they have some special method. At the same time, Wang Xian muttered in front of him. Although the battle had been dangerous, it was a good harvest. 63 corpses of rank 7 gods were another bountiful harvest. A smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. After a moment of hesitation, he prepared to fly in the direction of the 9 Origins universe passageway. He was ready to leave this area. Now that he had been discovered and was being chased by the gods of the Faith universe, there was no need for him to continue staying here. In the future, it would be much more difficult to wantonly kill the gods of Faith. Not only that, but he would also be in danger. So he prepared to go back. The rewards he had now were already terrifying enough. When he returned, he would think of ways to increase the strength of Lan Qingyue and the rest. Once Lan Qingyue, Xiaolan, and the others advance further, they would be comparable to peak sovereign realm experts. At that time, he would deal with them. With this thought in mind, Wang Xian continued to fly at high speed. Buzz buzz buzz. However, a few months later, Wang Xian suddenly sensed a wild aura rushing towards him. This aura belonged to a star behemoth. He narrowed his eyes and looked to the right. No, there's one at the back too. Wang Xian's heart skipped a beat as he looked behind him. Faith Chaos God. At this moment, a series of cold shouts rang out. When Wang Xian heard this voice, his expression changed slightly. They caught up to me again? Wang Xian mumbled to himself. As he was moving diagonally, the other party had caught up to him. However, even if he was moving diagonally, he was still shocked that the gods of the Faith universe could lock onto him and catch up to him so quickly. Without any hesitation, he changed his direction and fled into the distance. The Tai Chi dragon plate and the 5 elements grindstone wrapped around him for protection. Buzz buzz buzz. Buzz buzz buzz. In the next second, a vast voice filled with the power of faith surged into his mind. This voice instantly reduced the speed of energy circulation in his body by 80%. The thought of submitting to the other party surfaced in his mind. This sound was pervasive, disturbing one's mind. Yin-yang space. Wang Xian shouted. The Tai Chi dragon plate spun and placed him in a special space, isolating him from the eerie voice of faith. At this moment, a roar was heard and a torrent of energy rushed towards him. Wang Xian moved and steered the soul warship to increase its speed. The torrent of energy bombarded the air, but did not hit Wang Xian. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, you can't escape. How dare you kill the gods of faith? You must die and your dragon palace will be annihilated. The angry voices of the gods were heard from behind. When Wang Xian heard this, his eyes were filled with coldness. Do you really think I can't do anything to you? Wang Xian's eyes were cold and gleaming. With a thought, he took out the communication stone plate and sent a message. Sensing the pursuit behind him, Wang Xian increased his speed to the maximum and shook them off again. Chase. Continue the chase. The treasures on him can withstand the impact of the gods of faith. It's best to conceal his aura next time, or he will be discovered in advance. The rank 7 gods of the 10 palaces roared and continued the chase behind Wang Xian. For the next few days, Wang Xian was on the run. However, 10 days later, Wang Xian saw a habitable planet ahead and immediately flew over. When he arrived at the habitable planet, he waved his arm and a demonic soul altar was formed. Soon, Enlai and 20,000 cursed dragons appeared in the demonic soul altar. Cursed dragons. This was one of the trump cards of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian had already verified the strength of the cursed dragons. 2,000 cursed dragons had cursed a 7th-order sovereign space beast to death. Wang Xian had summoned it to deal with them with the cursed dragon. I wonder how the cursed dragons will affect the gods of the universe of faith. Looking at the 20,000 cursed dragons that he had summoned, Wang Xian was deep in thought. A 7th-order sovereign space beast could match the strength of a pinnacle god. However, the curse of the cursed dragons was not an ordinary attack. It was the power of the curse. The curse entered the body directly. In terms of physical strength, there was not much difference between a 7th-order sovereign space beast and a 7th-order god. Of course, in terms of physical strength, A 7th-order sovereign space beast still had a huge advantage. However, the difference was that the power of faith of a 7th-order god was greatly suppressed. Wang Xian was not sure how many cursed dragons could curse a 7th-order god to death. After all, this curse was a little special. Chapter 38-36. When I used the cursed dragons to kill the 7th-order sovereign space beasts, 2,000 cursed dragons killed one 7th-order sovereign space beast. Wang Xian muttered to himself as he pondered. In essence, the 7th-order gods were on the same level as the 7th-order sovereign space beasts. Due to the suppression of the galaxy universe, the 7th-order gods were much weaker. However, the power of the curse targeted the physical body. Wang Xian wasn't sure how many cursed dragons he needed to kill a 7th-order god. If he needed too many, it wouldn't be worth it. However, Wang Xian estimated that he didn't need 2,000 cursed dragons to kill a 7th-order god. After all, in order to resist the power of the curse, one had to use both physical body and energy to resist the power of the curse. Although the physical body of the 7th-order gods didn't change, their energy was greatly suppressed. Let's give it a try. At most, these cursed dragons will need tens of millions of years to recover. Anyway, the cursed dragons in the Dragon Palace aren't of much use at the moment. Wang Xian muttered. Moreover, this time, Wang Xian didn't use the cursed dragons to deal with the 7th-order gods, but the 6th-order sovereign space beasts. Currently, there were 5 6th-order sovereign realm giant space beasts in the 10 palaces' armies. This was one of their strongest forces. As long as he used the cursed dragons to kill the 5 6th-order sovereign space beasts, he would be able to face the 10 palaces head-on. Wang Xian was considering if he should call Lan Qingyue and the rest over. It's better to call them over. If we can annihilate the 10 palaces' armies, it will be a terrifying boost to the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian instructed Enlai to bring Lan Qingyue over. Lan Qingyue wasn't participating in the war with the Faith Universe, as she was looking for resources and treasures. After receiving Wang Xian's message, she immediately instructed Enlai to bring them over. Xiao Xian. Lan Qingyue looked at Wang Xian with a smile. Qingyue, help me deal with the 10 armies of the Faith Universe. Get Xiaolan and the rest to leave first. When the war breaks out, summon them over immediately. Wang Xian instructed Lan Qingyue. All right, Xiao Xian. Lan Qingyue nodded her head. After which, she looked at the 20,000 cursed dragons in astonishment and asked, Xiao Xian, are they very strong? The Conviction Universe has 24 palaces. Not long ago, I annihilated one palace's million-strong legion. Now 10 palaces' million-strong legions are chasing me. Each palace's combat power rivals Little Blue's. In addition, each palace has over 100 Tier 7 gods. Wang Xian said with a smile. Faith Universe is actually this strong? The power of these 10 palaces is comparable to the power of our 9 Essences universe, right? Lan Qingyue was shocked. That shouldn't be the case. The peak races of the 9 Essences universe are probably still hiding their strength. Furthermore, tens of millions of years have passed, so they should have gotten much stronger. Wang Xian guessed. Not long after he entered the Starry Sky universe, Wang Xian had a huge battle with the angels and phoenixes. At that time, they were able to display battle power comparable to an 8th-order sovereign. If it wasn't for Lan Qingyue and the other 2 Kuans, they might not have bowed down to them. Now that tens of millions of years had passed, the various peak-level races should have made even more preparations and done even more. Lan Qingyue nodded her head. However, I feel that the number of gods in the Faith Universe should be much higher than the number of sovereigns in our 9 Essences universe. Wang Xian added. This time, the number of gods chasing after him had reached 800,000. This number was absolutely terrifying. Xiao Xian, will they chase after us? Do we need to wait here? Lan Qingyue asked. Yes, just wait here. Don't come out for now. Conceal yourself. Wang Xian nodded his head. Lan Qingyue nodded her head. Following which, he hid in the vital planet and concealed his aura. At the same time, a group of cursed dragons gathered around him. Time passed day by day. Found him? That Dragon King actually stopped. 10 days later, at the back, The 10 armies of Faith Universe saw the direction that the power of faith was pointing and their eyes lit up. That Dragon King must be hiding. Does he think we can't lock onto him? One of the 7th Order God Palace's eyes lit up as he spoke with excitement. That Dragon King has suddenly stopped. We have to be careful. That Dragon King looks very cunning. One of the 7th Order God Palace's members hesitated for a moment before reminding. No matter what, since he has stopped, we have to act. Our Faith Universe has checked this area, and there's no danger. Let's surround him now and annihilate him. The other gods of Faith Universe said. Since they were going to lock onto the Dragon King, they couldn't possibly stop because of some scruples. Moreover, they had already figured out the strength of the Dragon King. Let's do it. Even if he has other trump cards, we can deal with him. One of the 7th Order God Palace's members said. The strength of the 10 palaces was comparable to 15 to 16 rank 9 celestial beings. However, the strength that the Dragon King had displayed was only comparable to 7 to 8 rank 9 celestial beings. Under such circumstances, they didn't believe that the Dragon King could double his strength. 5 armies, attack from the left, and we'll attack from the right. We'll trap him. The 7th Order God Palace's members instructed. The gods of the 10 palaces nodded their heads. With a swift movement, they surrounded Wuxia immediately. They're here. Before long, Wuxia could vaguely sense the arrival of the Faith Universe's army. A smile appeared on his face. Wuxia didn't hesitate. He waved his arm and placed the cursed dragon and Lan Qingyue in the mother nest. Then he made his escape. He knew that the Faith Universe's army was going to surround him. Therefore, he was prepared to escape to the front and let the Faith Universe's top forces chase after him. Especially the 5 6th Order Sovereign Realm Giant Space Beasts. He's trying to escape. Chase after him. This time, we must make him stay here. When the Faith Universe's members sensed Wuxia's escape, they immediately roared. Their figures moved, and they immediately sped up. The 5 6th Order Sovereign Realm Giant Space Beasts roared as they increased their speed, taking the lead. Hold him back. One of the 7th Order God Palace's members shouted at Wuxia. The 5 6th Order Sovereign Giant Beasts launched their attacks immediately. At the same time, some of the 6th Order Sovereign Giant Beasts started accumulating terrifying energy with the help of treasures. Chapter 38-37. He as expected. Wuxia flew forward and sensed the terrifying attacks coming from behind. His eyes lit up instantly. His eyes were filled with joy, and without any hesitation he waved his arm. In an instant, cursed dragons appeared behind Wuxia and charged at the streams of energy. The attack of 5 astral beasts and 500 cursed dragons would definitely be able to kill the curse. As for the rest of the attacks, Wuxia wasn't sure. However, in the face of such a terrifying attack, Wuxia released all 20,000 cursed dragons. The 20,000 cursed dragons roared and charged towards the beams of energy without hesitation. What is this? Seeing the cursed dragon facing their attacks head-on, the gods of the 10 palaces revealed looks of astonishment. Boom boom boom. The next moment, the cursed dragon was hit by the energy and died instantly. It had no power to resist at all. However, after they cursed, waves of curse power surged towards them, especially the 5 6th Order Sovereign Realm Giant Space Beasts. In order to avoid any accidents, Wuxia ordered 500 cursed dragons to carry out the killing curse. This was already a lot. According to his calculations, 200 to 300 of them should be enough to completely annihilate it. There were at least 500 to 600 rank 7 gods, and a large number of rank 6 gods. With the help of their treasures, they killed 20,000 cursed dragons instantly. The energy was still charging towards Wuxia. Wuxia hurriedly defended himself. Boom boom boom. Waves of energy were withstood by Wuxia. In the next moment, he turned around and stared at the million-strong army of the 10 palaces with a stern look in his eyes. You want to kill me? Let's see who will kill who today. As he spoke, the soul spear appeared in his hand. Next, prepare for the big battle. You bastard from the 9 Essences universe. How dare you kill the gods of our universe? Today is the day you die. After wiping us out, We'll wipe out your dragon palace." Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, a rank 7 expert from the Decree Palace glared at him with murderous intent. Their Order Palace had suffered heavy losses at the hands of the Dragon King. Let's see who will kill who today." Wang Xian sneered as he stared at the 5 giant beasts of the starry sky with a smirk. Ao ao ao. Ao ao ao. At this time, the curse began to descend, and a large amount of terrifying black energy flowed out of the 5 astral beasts' mouths. A strange black energy surrounded the 5 Sixth Order Sovereign Realm space beasts. This strange black energy was melting away their vitality. What happened? This sudden turn of events caused the expressions of the Tier 7 gods on the 5-star behemoths to change slightly. Not good. I feel a wave of energy invading. What a terrifying energy. I can feel it too. It's a curse. We're suffering from a terrible curse. At this moment, the rank 7 and rank 6 gods who had just attacked felt their hearts skip a beat. They sensed a terrifying energy gradually enveloping their bodies, melting away the vitality in their bodies. This energy was very terrifying, very strange. It's a curse. It should be related to those 20,000 creatures. It's a curse. Quick, transfer the curse. Half of the rank 7 gods of the 10 palaces were covered in curses. Black cursed energy surged from their bodies. The curse quickly erased their vitality. This caused their expressions to change drastically. Faith, transfer the curse. The eyes of the cursed gods of the 7th and 6th ranks narrowed, and they roared in unison. Wang wang wang. Wang wang wang. Wang wang wang. In the next second, Wang Xian saw the scene of countless worshippers appearing in the sky above them. The entire void was filled with the shadows of the worshippers. At this time, the black power of the curse was transferred from the bodies of the cursed gods to the shadows of the believers above. Ah! Ah! Immediately after, incomparably miserable screams rang out. One could see that the shadows of the believers had painful expressions on their faces. Slowly, the shadows that belonged to them collapsed. This represented the death of a worshipper. A large number of worshippers were enveloped by the black curses and died rapidly. Wang Xian's eyes narrowed when he saw this. They had transferred the curse on their bodies to their own worshippers, allowing them to bear the power of the curse. Yet, they did not react in the slightest. Wang Xian was astonished by the transfer of the curse. "Qinghua, do it!" Wang Xian roared when he saw the situation continuing. Lan Qinghua appeared beside him instantly. Woo woo woo. Woo woo woo. Following which, a black hole appeared behind Lan Qinghua. From the black hole, Xiaolan and the rest flew out. Swish swish. Without any hesitation, Wang Xian threw out the soul spear in his hand. 5 elements grindstone and Tai Chi dragon coil. They attacked them directly. Xiaolan, Xiaobai, and the rest also roared and attacked the army of the 10 palaces from the Faith Universe. At the same time, the auras of the 5 Sixth Order sovereigns of the 10 palaces were getting weaker and weaker as they died slowly. This caused the 10 palaces to lose 5 top-notch combat forces. On Wang Xian's side, Lan Qinghua and the other 3 top-notch combat forces were added. Under such circumstances, Wang Xian's strength had surpassed the 1,000,000 troops of the 10 palaces. In addition, among the 1,000,000 troops of the 10 palaces, half of the rank 7 and rank 6 gods were resisting the power of the curse. Shit, damn it. We've fallen into an ambush. That's the ancient god Kuan breeder of the Dragon Palace. They are actually hiding here. Our giant beasts are all dead. When the deities of the 10 palaces saw this, their expressions changed drastically as they roared loudly. Originally, they were in a situation of absolute suppression. They did not expect the situation to turn out like this in the blink of an eye. All the gods had embarrassed expressions on their faces. We have to clear the power of the curse from our bodies. We can't make a move for a while. The group of cursed gods roared with ugly expressions on their faces. They knew that they were in trouble. They did not know why they were suddenly hit by such a strange and terrifying curse. Now they needed to resist it. If they resisted it, they would not be able to control the treasure of the Faith Universe. This was a huge crisis for them. The gods of the Faith Universe were extremely solemn. Sacrifice. Faith sacrifice. We must annihilate them today. Soon, one of the rank 7 gods from the Order Palace roared with bloodshot eyes. They still had a trump card. Chapter 38:38, Sacrifice. When the millions of believers from the 10 palaces heard this, their bodies trembled violently. The universe of faith had a powerful weapon, and that was sacrifice. By sacrificing their own believers, the gods would be able to unleash terrifying strength. Similarly, if other believers were sacrificed, they would also be able to increase their strength. Everyone, sacrifice 1/5 of your strength to stop the Dragon King from Dragon Palace. Hurry! One of the rank 7 gods from the Order Palace roared. Sacrifice! Sacrifice! The rest of the experts from the 10 palaces roared without hesitation. With a wave of their arms, a large number of believers behind them were shrouded. Enveloped by the power of faith, the believers were filled with despair. However, they did not hesitate. They sat cross-legged as the heart of faith floated above their heads. To the experts from the universe of faith, the heart of faith was their lifeline and the source of their strength. However, their sacrifice could allow their heart of faith to unleash extreme power. It could allow them to unleash the pure and terrifying power of faith. When the heart of faith floated, a rank 7 god flew up into the sky. Phantoms of believers appeared in the sky above him. These phantoms slowly began to collapse. The believers were sacrificing, and so were the surrounding powerful believers. They sacrificed their lives to receive the strongest power of faith. When Wuxia saw what they were doing, he was shocked. His eyes narrowed and a look of surprise appeared in his eyes. Attack! Wuxia shouted immediately. The soul spear in his hand shot forward. 2 soul spears covered the area where the rank 7 gods were. The 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon plate attacked the group of sacrificing gods. An incomparably powerful force engulfed them. Block this attack and buy us some time. The rank 7 gods shouted when they saw this horrifying attack. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The millions of gods and believers from the 10 palaces launched powerful attacks at the same time. However, the attack of the soul spears and the Tai Chi dragon plate wasn't something they could withstand together. Not to mention Xiaolan, Xiaobai, and Lan Qingyue. The terrifying attack directly crushed over. Pu-pu-pu. Pu-pu-pu. In an instant, at least 1 million believers were engulfed by the terrifying energy wave and died instantly. Continue. When Wuxia saw this, he made a move and the soul warship below him dashed forward. Lan Qingyue and the rest launched the second round of attacks. Faith barrier. Suddenly, one of the Tier 7 gods summoned a staff of faith. This staff was condensed from the pure power of faith. With a wave of his arm, a barrier appeared in front of the 10 palaces army. Faith rain. Another Tier 7 god roared. Walala. In an instant, the rain formed by the condensation of faith dripped down from the sky. This rain of faith contained a special kind of energy. When the rainwater fell on the bodies of the gods and disciples who worshipped the universe, it had a blessing effect. When it fell on other living creatures and plants, it had a terrifying offensive effect. Faith destruction palm. Another voice rang out and attacked Xiaolan. Faith heart-piercing spear. The Tier 7 gods in the palaces erupted with terrifying power. This power was no weaker than the strength of a rank 9 god. This was the power of sacrifice. What a powerful attack! Wuxia's expression changed when he saw this. When the soul spear struck the barrier, it was completely blocked. The powerful faith destruction palm landed on Lil Blue's body and sent it flying. However, the price is also very high. Wuxia murmured as he watched. The strength they had displayed was terrifying. However, it was the power of countless believers and the lives of the 200,000 gods and believers in each palace. The sacrifice was not just the power of the believers. That Tier 7 god would not live for long either. If all his believers died, he would fall from the god realm and die immediately. Boom boom boom. Rumble. Rumble. Dragon King of Dragon Palace, we will never let you off for making us pay such a huge price. One of the Tier 7 gods roared with murderous intent in his eyes. Let's retreat. Wang Xian said to Lan Qingyue when he saw the terrifying strength they had displayed. He did not intend to continue fighting with them. The power of sacrifice from the gods of faith was temporary and could not be sustained for long. In that case, he might as well leave. Avoid the brunt. Moreover, the curse power of the Tier 7 gods had already been transferred away and gradually recovered. Once they recovered, they would be able to unleash terrifying strength with the help of the supreme treasures in their hands. Wang Xian was prepared to retreat as he fought. He would wait until the power of the sacrifice was completely exhausted before he killed them. Now they were no longer a match for the gods of faith. All right. Lan Qingyue nodded and immediately ordered Xiaolan and the rest to retreat. Wang Xian did not hesitate and retreated immediately. Damn it. Stay here. The 10 Type 7 gods who had been sacrificed roared savagely, and they immediately chased after them. Boom boom boom. Rumble. Rumble. The 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi dragon coil formed a defense. They fled into the distance. Arg. Die die die. The Tier 7 gods who had been sacrificed unleashed a barrage of attacks towards Wang Xian and the rest. However, their attacks were all blocked by the 5 elements grindstone, Tai Chi dragon plate, and Lan Qingyue. In the blink of an eye, Wang Xian had widened the distance between him and them. The curse on us has been diverted. We can't let the Dragon King escape. Chase him. At this time, the gods who had gotten rid of their own curses roared and began to chase after them. After the curse was removed, they made use of the supreme treasures to unleash strength that was sufficient to deal with Wang Xian and the rest. After the sacrifice, even if 5 rank 6 space behemoths had died, they would still be much stronger than before. However, they could not maintain this strength for long. Once the power of sacrifice started to dissipate, they would no longer be a match for the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. Chapter 38-39. Swish swish swish. Wang Xian began to flee. The strength of the gods of Faith Universe had far exceeded his expectations. 20,000 cursed dragons had only managed to kill 5 6th order sovereign realm giant space beasts. Even a 7th or 6th order sovereigns could not be killed by the curse of the curse. Wang Xian had not expected such a powerful curse to shift. Every universe should not be underestimated. They all have their own strengths. Wang Xian murmured. But this time, it was not a huge loss. After the 5 6th order sovereigns were killed, he would be out of danger. Although he was still being chased from behind, he wasn't afraid at all. Wang Xian was fleeing at a terrifying speed. Chase. Hurry up. Damn it. We have suffered heavy losses again. If we can't kill the Dragon King, we will suffer a huge loss. Hurry up. Behind him, the army of the 10 palaces from Faith Universe was in hot pursuit. Their faces were ugly. But in the beginning, they had been relying on the speed of the 6th order sovereigns. Now that the 5th order sovereigns were killed, it was too difficult to catch up with Wang Xian. The gods were aware of this. However, if they were to stop and not pursue, then their losses this time would be too great. 5 6th order sovereign realm giant beasts saw. Many gods and believers had died because of the sacrifices. It could be said that they had suffered heavy losses this time. But such heavy losses could not stop the Dragon King from Dragon Palace. This? One had to know that they had mobilized the power of the 10 palaces this time. They had used the power of 10 palaces out of 24 palaces, which was almost half of their strength. And the result was so tragic. This was simply too embarrassing. It was not just a matter of face. Once the Dragon King escaped, how were they going to stop the Dragon King from hunting the gods of their universe in the future? They could not possibly stay together forever, right? If they could not even deal with one Dragon King, how were they going to destroy the entire 9-source universe? How were they going to chase the 9-source universe out of the star beasts? They chased from behind, and at the same time, they passed on the news here. They knew that they had failed. The power of the 10 palaces was not enough to kill the Dragon King. What? At the same time, within the Faith Universe, at the location of the Faith Universe's passageway, a group of palace elders received this message, and their expressions instantly turned ugly. They looked at each other, and each of them had an ugly expression on their faces. What happened? Those deity elders of the 24 palaces who did not participate looked over and asked doubtfully. The alliance of our 10 palaces failed. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace killed 5 rank 6 space beasts. In addition, we had no choice but to use the power of sacrifice. Now that the Dragon King of Dragon Palace has escaped, it will be difficult to kill him. The Elder of the Order Palace said with a gloomy face. What? The combined strength of the 10 palaces was defeated by the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace there, and even caused your 10 palaces to suffer heavy losses? An elder of the palace heard it and said in shock. The divine elders of the surrounding palaces also focused their gazes, and their faces were filled with solemnity. They knew how strong the combined power of the 10 palaces was. However, not only did the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace escape, but the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace also caused them to suffer such heavy losses? This was simply unimaginable. Were all the experts of the 9 Origins universe so terrifying? That Dragon Palace is not simple. It is not without reason that a high-level race could force 2 peak races to bow their heads. An elder of the Heavenly Imperial Palace said with a gloomy face. The strength displayed by the Dragon King of Dragon Palace is stronger than the other peak races of the 9 Origins universe. Damn it, we have to destroy him. Otherwise, all our plans will be for naught. Moreover, we have to be on guard against the attacks of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. An elder of the palace looked around with a gloomy face. The other elders of the 24 palaces nodded in agreement. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace had to die. Otherwise, they would be in deep trouble. Even the combined strength of the 10 palaces could not kill him. Are we going to let all 24 palaces attack together? An elder frowned and could not help but ask. Gathering the strength of all 24 palaces to attack the Dragon King of Dragon Palace was ridiculous in their eyes. The Dragon King is currently on the run. If we send a large number of experts to chase after him, he might escape to the 9 Origins universe. At that time, if he joins forces with the peak races of the 9 Origins universe, he will still be a huge threat to us. We have to use other methods to get rid of him as soon as possible. As the Elder of the Decree Palace spoke, he glanced in a direction. The 9-star palaces and the 7 palaces of yours. Didn't you guys fight for a treasure shard before? That fragment possesses powerful destructive power. If you send people to gather all the fragments together, they should be able to kill a peak sovereign realm expert, right? Stellar Field Fragment. The Elder of the 9 Stars Palace frowned slightly. The Stellar Field Fragment is with our Palace Lord. We have 1 fragment in our hands, so they should have 7. At this time, we have to let go of our past enmity and get rid of the Dragon King of Dragon Palace first. An Elder of the Deity Assembly looked at them and reminded them. Yes, the Stellar Field Fragment possesses terrifying offensive power. If we can gather all of them, it is a supreme treasure of fortune. We have 1 fragment here, and your 7 palaces also have 7. If the 7 of them work together, killing a peak sovereign realm expert should not be a problem. The Elder of the 9 Stars Palace hesitated for a moment, then looked at the elders of the other 7 palaces and said, they had once engaged in a war between the 8 palaces over a single treasure. At that time, many rank 7 and rank 8 gods had died. Hence, the 8 palaces had always been in a state of open and veiled conflict. But now that they were facing the starry cosmos and the same enemy, they could still work together. Alright. The elders of the other 7 palaces hesitated for a moment before nodding. They had fought and killed each other over this supreme treasure. But at this time, they could work together to deal with the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. If that's the case, let's send experts over as soon as possible to eliminate the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. The Elder of the Decree Palace said. The Elder of the 9 Stars Palace nodded. With the Stellar Field Fragment and the group of experts, killing the Dragon King of Dragon Palace would not be a problem. The Stellar Field Fragment was a supreme treasure of fortune. As for the supreme treasure of fortune, it was the heavenly origin fortune of the 9 Origins cosmos. Such a supreme treasure was an extremely powerful existence in every cosmos. Even a single fragment could cause the peak races to fight over it. They did not even care about sacrificing themselves. Chapter 3840. Let's leave this place. The 24 palaces of the universe of faith are too strong. I'll be in great danger if I stay here. Wang Xian led Lan Qingyue and fled in the starry universe. The universe of faith was still too strong. Wang Xian had to pay such a heavy price to deal such a heavy blow to just 10 palaces. If the other party was determined to annihilate him, they might send even stronger forces next time. Therefore, he was prepared to leave this place. It would be safer for Enlai to bring him away from this place. Wang Xian looked at Lan Qingyue. Qingyue, let's leave this place immediately. All right, Xiao Xian. Lan Qingyue nodded and had no objections. Woo-woo. But suddenly Lil Blue, Lil White, and the others let out a low roar. Wang Xian and the rest were stunned when they saw it. What's wrong, Xiaolan? Lan Qingyue asked Xiaolan. Master, we sensed a strong energy in that direction. Xiaolan looked in a direction and said. Strong energy? Lan Qingyue was shocked when she heard Wang Xian. What energy? Lan Qingyue asked. It can absorb strong energy. We don't know the details. Xiaolan answered. Is there any danger? If not, let's go and take a look. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment. They had been on the run for more than 10 days. Wang Xian didn't know how long the energy from the sacrifice could last, but it should be a few months at most. Or even shorter. Currently, the experts from the universe of faith and the pinnacle races in the nine-source universe had produced ninth-order sovereigns. Wang Xian and the rest didn't have much of an advantage anymore. Of course, this advantage was against the 5 or 6 pinnacle races. Wang Xian was still very confident in a one-on-one fight. In the starry universe, the Dragon Palace wasn't afraid of any pinnacle race or any palace from the universe of faith. But the invincibility of the Dragon Palace in the past had been broken. Now he couldn't increase his strength, and it was difficult to increase the Tai Chi Dragon Board and 5 Elements grind. The only ones who could increase their strength were Xiaolan and the rest. Xiaolan and the rest were only in the 6th order sovereign realm, and it was easier for them to increase their strength. If they could increase their strength to the 7th order sovereign realm, Xiaolan would be able to go against pinnacle sovereigns. This power was extremely terrifying. Now that they sensed the energy, they could go and take a look. If Xiaolan and the others all improved, they would be invincible. Woo-woo. Xiaolan and the others let out a low roar and flew in that direction. After flying in that direction for more than 10 days, Wang Xian and the rest saw a humongous ocean. The water of the entire ocean was azure blue. The ocean contained a special kind of energy. Master, Dragon King, this is the edge of the infinite starry sky. At this moment, Xiaolan's voice suddenly sounded. When Wang Xian and the rest heard this, their hearts skipped a beat. The edge of the infinite starry sky. The unbounded starry sky was even more important than the Yorwild's continent in the 9 Essences universe. The star behemoths that could survive in the boundless starry sky were all extremely terrifying beings. Even those at the heavenly primordial creation realm existed. Apart from this kind of terrifying giant star beast, it was the offspring of other giant star beasts. The boundless starry sky was a paradise for star behemoths, a treasure land of the starry sky universe. Currently, neither the Conviction Cosmos nor the 9 Origins Cosmos dared to step into the boundless starry sky. By the way, Xiaolan, what's the situation with the other giant star beasts that came to the starry sky universe with you? Xiaolan and the rest were brought to the starry sky universe. That was because the extremely terrifying giant star beasts had broken the universe's passageway, allowing the experts and disciples of the 9 Origins Cosmos to enter. They established the royal tribe of the giant star beasts, hoping to rule more giant star beasts and educate them, so that they could develop intelligence. Xiaolan replied. The giant star beasts of the starry sky universe did not have much intelligence because this universe did not give birth to intelligent beings. Their inheritance and everything else did not have civilization. Everything was about hunting, growth, and evolution. This was their main theme. This was also the reason why they did not develop intelligence and civilization. However, the group of giant star beasts that stayed in the 9 Origins Cosmos had developed intelligence. Educate the giant star beasts? Develop intelligence? If the giant star beasts developed intelligence, the strength of the entire starry sky universe would probably increase by a lot. Wang Xian said, his eyes shining. Is there any danger in this ocean? Wang Xian looked at the endless ocean floating in the universe in front of him, and was shocked. We don't know. Back then, with our strength, we did not dare to step into the territory of other giant star beasts. Once we realized that the territory was occupied, we did not dare to approach. Xiaolan and the rest answered. They were still too weak. Even now, they were not very strong in the infinite starry sky. Wang Xian and the rest nodded and looked at the ocean. Within this special ocean, there is a powerful energy. This energy is very beneficial to our cultivation. Wang Xian sensed it, and was tempted. This place was at the edge of the infinite starry sky. Wang Xian felt that he could take a look inside. If he could find some treasures, it would shorten the time needed for Xiaolan and the rest to break through. Yes, we might be able to find some treasures. Xiaolan and I have the pure aura of the giant star beasts. If we are careful, we will not be hunted by the giant star beasts. Lan Qingyue nodded. All right, let's go take a look. Wang Xian nodded. He still had a random space scroll with him. If he really encountered danger, he could escape immediately. If Lan Qingyue and the rest were really in danger, Wang Xian could get Enlai to come over. With this thought in mind, Wang Xian gestured to Xiaolan and the rest. Xiaolan and the rest moved and dived into the ocean. They shook their bodies happily. Kun was more inclined towards the ocean. The Divine Dragon clan naturally preferred to live in the sea. Wang Xian felt refreshed when he dived in and swam further in. Their speed was not fast as they sensed their surroundings vigilantly. Swish, swish, swish. When Wang Xian and the rest dived into the ocean, at the army of the 10 palaces, 8 figures flew over from afar. 8 envoys, you are here. When the deities of the 10 palaces saw the 8 rank 7 deities flying over, they were delighted and greeted them. Where is the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace now? Let's eliminate him. The 8 rank 7 deities asked calmly. Chapter 38-41. Huh? They have arrived at the center of the starry sky universe, the edge of the infinite starry sky. They have entered this ocean. At the edge of the infinite starry sky, a massive army was flying rapidly. 8 figures stood in the middle, with an arrow formed by faith energy pointing ahead. In front of them was a boundless ocean. These 8 figures were the envoys sent by the faith universe. They were the envoys who held the heaven origin fortune grade fragments. Envoys, are we still going in? There might be some risks. One of the rank 7 gods asked with a frown. The entire army cannot enter. Once the entire army enters, they might attract the attention of the powerful giant space beasts. One of the envoys shook his head with a frown. The infinite starry sky was a forbidden land for them. Although this place was at the periphery and wasn't very dangerous, they had too many believers. If they entered, they would immediately attract the attention of powerful space beasts. With the heaven origin fortune grade fragments, they might be comparable to the pinnacle existences in the pantheon, but they could only contend with a 7th order sovereign realm giant space beast. If an 8th order sovereign realm giant space beast came, they would be done for. In the infinite starry sky, 8th order sovereign realm giant space beasts definitely existed. The 8 of us will enter. This is the edge, and the giant space beasts should not be of a high level. We should be able to resist or escape if we encounter some. One of the envoys said. Their army could not enter. As long as the 8 of them entered, they would be able to escape. 8 envoys, we will be waiting for you outside. We will cast the pursuit of faith on you one last time. It will last for a few thousand years. The rank 7 gods from the 10 palaces army said. The 8 envoys nodded. Soon, the pursuit of faith arrowhead became denser. The 8 rank 7 gods exchanged glances before flying forward. Continue the pursuit. They had to kill the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. At the same time, Wang Xian and Xiaolan stepped into the ocean, feeling as though they had returned to their home. Although the ocean here was slightly different, it still contained a massive amount of water energy. Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue stood on Xiaolan's body and looked around. As he flew deeper into the depths, he did not sense any astral beasts' auras. This ocean was so vast that Wang Xian and the rest couldn't even sense its boundaries. They were flying in one direction. The energy of Xiaolan and the rest enveloped Wang Xian, preventing the other galactic beasts from sensing his aura. After flying for a year, Little Blue and the others suddenly sensed something. There are treasures over there. Little Blue and the others looked in a certain direction and said, "Are there any powerful star behemoths guarding it?" Wang Xian narrowed his eyes and asked. "Dragon King, I didn't sense anything." Xiaolan and the others replied and immediately flew forward. Soon, a very special item appeared in their line of sight. It was a crystal that was sparkling and translucent, emitting powerful energy. The crystal contained water energy and a powerful life energy. Water gave birth to all living things. The special water energy also contained the power of life. It was similar to the wood element. The crystal quietly floated in the sea, emitting a luster. Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he felt the energy within the crystal. The energy within this crystal should be comparable to a fifth-order sovereign realm divine fruit. Woo-woo. Little Blue and the rest let out a low growl and flew over. This is a treasure that contains life energy. It can enhance Little Blue and the rest. Let's consume it. Lan Qingyue said. For Little Blue and the rest to improve, they needed a huge amount of life energy. The main reason why they devoured the life energy of the pinnacle races was to enhance their own life energy. However, the resources of the Dragon Palace and the dragon blood in the dragon pool couldn't be given to Little Blue and the rest yet. The main reason was that the dragon blood in the Dragon Palace wasn't enough for them to improve. After all, Little Blue and the rest's cultivation levels were too high. This crystal is just floating here without the protection of the star behemoths. It's like picking up a treasure. Lan Qingyue sighed softly at this moment. Indeed, it's like picking up a treasure. Let's continue to observe. Even if we can find one in a year, the gains will be huge. Little Blue should be able to improve in 1,000,000 years. Wang Xian nodded his head. Such a treasure could be picked up directly. This was impossible in the Nine Origins universe. Xiaolan and the others swayed their bodies and continued flying forward. After flying for another half a year, Little Blue and the rest sensed something again. Go over. Little Blue led Wang Xian and the rest over. It was still a crystal that contained a huge amount of energy. After devouring it, Little Blue continued to search. Buzz buzz buzz. However, 1 year later, Wang Xian also sensed a huge amount of energy. Under normal circumstances, Little Blue and the rest would be the first to discover the energy crystal. However, this time, Wang Xian could also sense it. There should be a huge amount of that energy crystal over there. Lan Qingyue's eyes lit up as she pointed in a direction. Wang Xian nodded his head. Without needing their instructions, Little Blue and the rest immediately flew over. The closer they got, the more intense the energy was. However, when they were close, Wang Xian and the rest felt the huge amount of energy charging towards them. What's going on? Wang Xian and the rest narrowed their eyes and were astonished. Roar roar. However, in the next second, a crystal-like star beast charged towards Wang Xian and the rest. This was the smallest star beast that Wang Xian had seen in the Starry Sky universe. It was only about 1,000 meters in size, and could no longer be considered a beast. It was a powerful creature. What's this? Wang Xian stared at it and felt the energy coming from the crystal creature. His expression changed slightly. The Tai Chi dragon plate and the 5 elements grindstone immediately hovered around him. Boom. At this moment, the surrounding seawater energy suddenly condensed and formed a terrifying water dragon that attacked Wang Xian and the rest. It was an omnidirectional, indiscriminate attack. Block. Wang Xian saw the Tai Chi dragon plate blocking the back. The 5 elements grindstone immediately released 5 different elemental divine dragons that attacked the crystal creature. Little Blue and the rest also opened their huge mouths as waves of energy charged forward. At the same time, they shook their bodies and blocked the attack of the water energy with grayish energy. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.